Okay, another. Oh, wow, that looks like a Windows phone. Actually, I always wanted to check those out. I never had one before, so let's see if we can do something like that. Okay, it's HTC. It says boot loop. Okay, so maybe not. Um, so HTC is something. Okay, I'm sure there's some name to that, but there's a model number there, PM. $23,300 or something like that. Yeah, 23,300. 23,300. Most likely also known some better name, but okay. All right, let's see if we can see what if there's a boot loop or what. Okay, no. All right, so we have some power. Where is the okay HTC? And is it nothing? Okay, let's try to press the power button. Okay, so backlight came off. Okay, so now it seems like it's turned off. Is anything happening? I don't know if it's a boot loop because it just doesn't seem to be booting actually. I don't see any loop here per se. I don't know if we can boot into the recovery mode. I'm not familiar with the Windows Phone devices. Let's try it out. Well, something was happening there. Okay, so that's... Oh yeah, that looks like some kind of recovery mode. At least debug mode. Alright, so that's at least a good sign. We might be able to do something about that. So I don't know if there's a similar reflash procedure. So how does that work in Windows Phone land? I mean, obviously these are obsolete now, but still that's actually cool to try. I never tried this before. Never had a chance to work with the Windows Phone. So we'll see what we can do there. So some promises there. So no boot. And I'm not sure if it's recovery mode, but some kind of debug mode present. Okay. All right, that's... okay. It's not terrible. Screen is working, so all right, and I am back. And man, oh man, did I get myself an ordeal here. Remember I said that I wanted to work with Windows phones because I've never done it before? Well, I didn't want what I'm getting myself into. But hey, I mean, I guess all is well that ends well. So let me bring you up to speed a little bit with what was going on here. So while the phone is booting up, you will see that actually, again, spoiler alert, I did prevail, well, mostly, which was at some point entirely unexpected. So just to recap, so where we started was that it was supposed to be a boot loop, even though I didn't even see, a SIM error because I took out my SIM card right now. There's no SIM card, which is fine. We don't need it. Yeah, as you can see. And again, let's see if we can get a little bit more light here, yeah? Can get into settings. So touchscreen is working. Okay, let me see if we can do high brightness. And where is about, wait, where was the, yes, there it is. Yes, so phone information, Windows Phone, HTC PM23300, carrier TNT, that's a lie. Well, it used to be a TNT, now it's unlocked. Phone 8.0. Yeah, a whole bunch of other stuff. So what happened in there? Again, in the beginning, there was nothing was booting, and I think there was a boot loop eventually, but basically, yeah, it wouldn't even be booting into the operating system, never mind seeing what's wrong in there. So, of course, as you may or may not know, the Windows, at least Windows 8, which this phone runs on, has been obsolete, as in discontinued for quite a while, and basically abandoned by Microsoft. So there's no tool, there's no tools, there's no apps, there's basically nothing, at least not much. It's not the same as, Androids, where you can find tools, applications, a whole bunch of stuff, even for very, very, very old versions. Not exactly the case for Windows phones. Oops. There was one critical tool that I managed to find, and I think that might still be available from Microsoft, which is, what's the name of that? Windows Device Recovery Tool, which is basically like a flashing / again, recovery tool for phones like that. And which is supposed to flash, or at least able to reflash operating system and things like that. If it can detect your phone to begin with, and remember, there's not a whole lot of support you can get on that. So the thing was that I tried to reset the phone, did the factory reset before I even went there. There are some key combinations we can press, hold during the boot up. Long story short, none of that worked. There was one idea that I think I picked up on, more as usual, on the internet, that you may want to disconnect the battery, actually physically disconnect the battery from the inside, for which you would need to open the case, which again, this is a glued case. Yeah, so with all the stuff that attached to that. So at that point, I was pretty, I wouldn't say desperate, but I didn't have much hope that we can get anything out of this phone. So I got pretty careless in terms of how I was opening this. So while I was opening it, I managed to crack the case. That's a little bit, well, there's a small crack. I mean, it's hard to see from here, but there's a crack in the plastic of the case, which also, I mean, not that crack impacted, but also there was impact to the button, volume buttons. I'll get to that a bit later. But more importantly, because the way of this screen is glued here, there's no quite good separation here. You may, when you're cutting out the glue of the case, you can, and actually that's what I did, cut the screen instead. So basically, instead of having a deeper cut that will separate the plastic shell from the main board, and then, well, whatever is there, mid frame, if there, I don't remember if there is one, you can actually go a little bit shallow, and that would actually start cutting the top, well, glass and LCD from the underlying stuff, which is, well, not what you're supposed to be doing unless you're, you know, repairing the screen, which was not needed here. Again, long story short, I did cut quite a bit here of the screen from the underline where it's not supposed to be. And the worst part, that was all for naught, because I did manage to open it up one way or another with some damage, as I said. I did manage to disconnect the battery, repeated the whole exercise again, and as I said, long story short, that did not help at all. And the reason why I went there is because I tried this Windows device recovery tool, and it did not find this phone, and as such was unable to, you know, to do anything. So I started to, you know, go for the last resort. So, you know, let's disconnect the battery. Maybe it will reset something. You know, we can do something else there. But apparently that wasn't an issue, and I was lucky to even try it out. So apparently, and I don't know why exactly, but the Windows Device Recovery Tool software was unable to connect to the phone because it was connected via a USB hub. So that was not obvious. I don't think it was mentioned anywhere, at least very explicitly, that it wouldn't work. And maybe it works sometimes, maybe it doesn't. But the thing was that once I connected this directly to one of the USB ports on the computer, actually the software was able to detect the phone, was able to reflash the phone, which was very unexpected. And the best of it, actually after that, it was able, well, the phone was able to boot up into the system with no issues of the boot loop. And then we'll get there. So that made all the opening really unnecessary if I knew that I should just have connected with the regular, to the regular port. And worse still, of course, that the damage associated with that, which, well, you didn't need to do damage in the first place, but you didn't need to even open that to fix the problem. So, but again, so that was fixed. The boot loop issue was fixed. Then it turns out that the device was carrier. There was no, well, at least not anymore on any account lock. So I was able to boot into the system. So there's no PIN or anything like that, which might be because of the reflashing of the OS. But there was a carrier lock, and that did not get removed. So it was locked to AT&T. That was the original AT&T device. So if I insert any other SIM card, then it just wouldn't work. So that I managed to get unlock, and now actually then I know about this. I could have done it for free maybe by AT&T Unlock website, but I think I got the unlock code from somebody on eBay. So again, it's like an extra $1. And that totally worked. So now this is an unlocked device. So again, I don't have a SIM card here right now, but trust me, I did try that and it does work. So receiving calls, sending calls, calling, that all works. Wi-Fi works. Most of the things that I can't
use the system as is, basically stock, works. Of course, the problem is, as you can imagine, and as I said, that's the difference with Android, for instance. There's not even store anymore, so it's shut down. So you can't get any applications. I mean, you can get not just updates, you can get any new apps. A few apps that are installed do not work because they require some servers that have been shut down. So things like that. So just basic things, as I said, calling works, Wi-Fi works, browsing works, at least some things. I don't know if all the websites, because there's probably no updates to security certificates, things like that. Camera works, so things like that. So it's kind of cool device, relic of the of the past. I'm glad that I actually managed to get a hold of one of them, and again, as I said, it works to the extent that well, a device with no updates can work. I did fix most of the damage, so the parts, again, the crack here is mostly cosmetic, and it's really hard to see unless you know where you're looking at. The part with the screen, again, wasn't really a big issue. The biggest, well, not a problem, but the most noticeable thing was actually because I cut the adhesive underneath, it started to get a little bit proud of the surrounding area. And as such, there was a backlight bleed, so you can see it under certain angles. That's not great. Again, it's not super critical. But actually, I managed to fix that with, like, yeah, you know what, again, ghetto style super glue. So just the edge of the screen that was cut out, well, the adhesive was cut out. I just put a few drops of super glue there, and that mostly fixed the problem. Again, it doesn't look mint, but there are no issues from what I can see. So the little bit bigger problem was the button here, which on the volume side. So I managed to fix volume down button. This works fine. Yeah, I can see. I'm pressing this, but the volume up button is completely broken, as in the actual clicker is broken. So I managed to actually fix it with, again, a little bit of foil to make it the contact. And if you really press hard on that, with your nail or something like that, yeah, you can see right now, yeah, I'm pressing it, and the volume up is working, but it doesn't have tactile feeling. It's not exactly, natural. So yeah, that sucks. But apart from that, well, everything else seems to be working. I don't think I can test really if GPS here is working, because none of the applications for that would work. And there's no kind of like just the GPS app that can just, look into the satellites and show that it did so. So there's that. So most of the things worked. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Now a question to the viewers. Again, do you know, again, similar to my questions about the CDMA devices. So how about Windows phones? Can we sideload maybe some applications to there? Because I'm not familiar. I haven't done research on that. So can we put some other applications outside of pure stock that we've got via reflash? Because that could prolong life a little bit more. And if there are applications out there that you can get sort of, like with Android, there are APKs, there are tons of sites with, just storage of APKs that you can just sideload. You don't even need market access for that. Can we do something like that with Windows phones? That's Windows X. Oh, and by the way, the model number is PM23300, but it's known as HTC 8X or HTC Windows 8X phone. So there's that. Can we do something with the apps on the Windows, considering the Windows 8, mobile Windows X has been pretty much abandonware? So let me know. Really curious to hear about that. and I'll see you in the next episodes. See you then.